welcome to Mistakes Authors Make workshop. I am Janine Bolon, part of AuthorPodcasting.com. I have been in the broadcasting industry since 1982 when I was a DJ for our local radio station during my high school years. And since then, I've been labeled things as a radio show host. I've been called an interviewer. I've been called this is my all-time favorite, audio blogger, because they didn't know what to call us when in 2004 I started this podcast show that was called Powerful Women. Anyway, I had Kellogg's as a sponsor. It was a really great time. And now we are called podcasters, but I'm also a broadcaster. I can help people get on 64 different radio stations if they just let me know what they're interested in doing. So that's kind of what I do for the full-time job. But what I like to do as far as kind of a hobby is help authors out, especially when it comes to writing books. First of all, I want to say congratulations. You wrote your book. And even if you're in the process of writing a book, congratulations, you're writing your book. I mean, so many people talk about this over and over, and I don't want you to get discouraged. Don't let those people say, oh my gosh, you really, how many books are published every year and all that kind of stuff. Don't listen to them, because we need your story. You would not be inspired to write it if we didn't need it. So for all of you who have pushed through all those demons and have a published book or multiple in your possession, I just want to say congratulations. When I first started this process, I was what called a financial first responder. I didn't ever see myself as somebody that would help people with debt-free living, but that seemed to be the role I ended up in after being a college professor. Many of my students' grades were dropping, and I couldn't figure out why they were dropping. It was because they were running out of money by the end of the semester or what have you. And they were eating ramen and cup of noodles and things like that, where they weren't getting the nutrition they need, so they weren't able to study the way they needed to study. So that's when I started teaching debt-free living, was back in 2005. This was the very first book. Basically, it was my master's thesis, and it was done through a vanity publisher. I was teaching people how to, it was money. It's not just for rich people. I basically took all the data that I accrued from the 300 families that let me monitor their wealth accumulation. And that's kind of how I got into the biz back then. I never have gone through a regular publisher. I've always self-published. I've had more success that way. But it depends on what your strategy is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about when you decide to go with one publisher or another, what you need to be kind of focused on. And that's going to be in other videos. One of the nicest things about being an author is when somebody says that your book has made a difference. And so Erin Bear, who is also an author herself, was just thanking me for sending her a copy of the book that she had ordered. And she has her book of From Beaten to Badass, and she gave these little towels out as badass. And so we were just sharing the love with each other on Facebook. And I have to tell you, that's why I love you guys. I love being in the company of authors, because I have always found them to be very generous, very helpful, and thank you for writing your message. This is another one I'd like you to kind of take a look at. Jeanette Susan Anderson. She does the Bodacity show. She's all about living a bold life and work a bold business. She was so impressed with some of the stuff I did for follow-up with in regards to a podcast show that she had me on, that she spent 5 minutes on a Facebook Live just talking about me, my company, and what we do. So I want to say thank you, Jeanette, for that. I had sent her a card, and that's one of the things I talked to you guys about, is how you can use card sending to increase your business as well as your book sales. And so she was just showing people what I had done. Yes, I have written a few books. I am up to book number 12 that I'm writing this year, and I have plans with a publisher to write book number 13. So we're in negotiations for that now, but I've written in 4 different genres. I've written in money, I've written in mysticism, a guidebook for the enlightened soul, and the Seeking the Divine series. I've written for business with the Thriving Solopreneur and author podcasting, basically broadcasting services. So that's the areas that I've worked in. Now, I didn't want you to get the idea that everything I touch turns to gold. I've had a few failures, and I'm not going to go into super big detail, but I'm just going to let you know that not every event that you attend is going to be successful. However, you can turn it around to your advantage by keeping yourself in that positive mindset. And even though I was a part of this 100 author event and nobody showed up for it, I did get to meet some incredible, like 48 or 49 of the authors there, and we were able to get them on our podcast show. Another event that I did was I was doing an online course, and then we had 2021. we were open and then it shut again. And of course, by this time I'd already booked the video crew and everything. So the hotel let us come into an empty hotel and shoot the video course. I was going to sell it for $1,500. I now give it away for free just because I want to help people with debt-free living. So that was kind of an epic fail of that income in the investment for the business. So one of the things I encourage authors to do is come up with some sort of a sketch or something that makes you laugh, that helps you strive higher. This is one of my favorite pictures that I use every time I have an epic failure, and I have many, because I'm constantly trying new things, trying to figure out what works. And I look at this picture and I'm like, here's this sea turtle. He's not happy just swimming in the sea. He wants to fly. And it's not enough to fly in the water. He wants to fly in the air. And I just absolutely love the whole picture and the whole image and metaphor of this sea turtle. So after both of these instances where I lost quite a bit of money, lost time, I always sat back and said, okay, what can I gain from it? What can I move forward with it? And so that kind of perspective is what helps keep you going. It's also helpful to be in a community of authors because they understand the pain, they understand the grind, and they also understand how they might be able to help you. Okay. So moving on with all of that, one of the things I like to share with people is what are the top 3 mistakes that I see authors make. Now, I've had a video on this before, so I'm going to go through the points that I've talked about before quickly. However, I am going to be adding to it this week. So the first one, you may have seen this picture that I've made before, which is authors are secretive. They don't tell anybody they're writing a book. And I always laugh and I'm like, what? You're writing a book? I didn't know about that. And they're like, yeah, well, it's not done yet. Well, let me tell you something. Rule number 1, start marketing now. Start marketing now. As soon as you have an idea, as soon as you create an outline, get on Facebook, post that outline and say, I am writing a book and this is the outline I've presented for myself. I hope to have it done in 13 months, 18 months. Give yourself a deadline and start marketing the fact that you are writing a book now. The second mistake that a lot of authors make is they don't create an email list. Now, the whole point of you telling people that you're writing a book now is so that you can get them on your email list. And I have a lot of authors that kind of freak out and they're like, oh my gosh, build out an email list. Why? How? They're already in fear because they're putting their message and themselves out on the page and in public. Basically, you're creating in public. And what I like to tell them is just pick one. Don't worry about spending hours and hours and hours researching. Do a very minimal amount of due diligence and pick one. Constant Contact, Fresh Marketer, Pipedrive, MailChimp, whichever one looks super easy for you to set up an email service on, just start with one. The whole process is just start. Pick one and run with it. And if you find out later that there are certain things you don't like about it, you can shift it. But for now, it's just build out your email list. The next question a lot of them say is, oh my gosh, Janine, I haven't even finished the book yet. What do I say? And I'm like, just kind of use it as a way of journaling about how you're doing. Talk about the challenges that you're running into. If you're a fictional author, talk about where you're being challenged by a particular character, name the character. Or if you're struggling to come up with a name, ask your audience. Even if you only have 68 people on your newsletter, go ahead and ask your audience. They'll be more than happy to help you out. The other one is share the funny stories and also share the wisdom that you're learning. Most of the authors that I have talked to have to do some sort of research before they write their book. And once they do that little bit of research, they always learn a nugget. And not all of those golden nuggets that you have learned are going to go into your book. So put them out for your newsletter for your people so that they can read them. And it's not at all, there's nothing that you do as an author that's wasted in that way, right? So with my particular newsletter, I kind of am a little bit of an artist. I don't consider myself pro by any stretch of the matter. I actually call these my doodles, or my drawings. I'm not super great at it, but I have so much fun. I thoroughly enjoy being able to do a bit of cartooning. And so these are kind of some of the things that I've actually sent out as a quote, quote, newsletter. I was like, hey, I was bored today while I was on a Zoom call, and this is what I created. Okay, it's simple things like that. Or I'll snap a picture of me and my 4 kids and I'll be like, hey, all the kids are home from spring break. Yay. Stuff like that. This is another doodle that I sent out with my newsletter, and underneath it I was just like, what do you think, should I go into anime? Stuff like that, silly goofy stuff that I've put together, and then I throw it out for my people to be able to see. The next question I get from people is like, yeah, but how often should I be talking to people? Well, it depends on what you want to do. I think it's helpful to be in front of people once a week, but I promised my people that I would only contact them twice a month. So since I made that promise to my people when they signed up, I only talk to them twice a month. Now, if I'm going to change that, I will send out to my newsletter. I am going to be sending out my newsletters once a week. If this is too much activity for you, please feel free to unsubscribe. I make it very evident when I'm making changes for my people so I don't surprise them. Because if they signed up because they're like, oh, twice a month, that's not too bad, I'll go ahead and do that, and then I change the frequency, that can irritate your people, right? So this is kind of the schedule that I have with my people, is that I contact them once a week with an email. But the first email is very conversational. It's what I'm doing for the month, what I've set up for myself, and then little tips that I can help them either save their money, their time, or their sanity. Those are the kind of the three big ones that I send out to my list. The second week, I have a resources list. When I run into a really cool app, or I find a piece of software that helped me, or I learn something from another author, I'll ship it out to them and figure out a way to put it into their daily life. Number three is a tip that I've learned. I have so many people that I interview for my broadcasting company. We have over 5 different shows that we produce. And because of that, I have been able to have amazing conversations with so many different types of people. There's always something that I'm learning. So that's week 3, is I'll let them know a tip that I learned from one of my folks that I interviewed. And then the 4th week, it's the books I'm reading. I don't know about you, but I'm a absolute bibliophile. I love books. I love the smell of them. I'm always reading them. Even if I'm skimming through a book, I may put it into this newsletter. So that's how that answers the what should I write to people. And what's the third mistake people make? Okay, authors. And it is the second tip, and that is have a media kit prepared. Most authors don't even think about a media kit until their book is out there and they get on podcasts. And I want to let you know that I have a book that I've written on how to be a standout guest and take your book on a virtual tour. No matter where you are in your book writing process, I highly recommend that you get this, because in it, you're going to find exactly how to build out a media kit and what you want to do with your media kit. And by the way, when you're stuck, when you have hit the wall, when it comes to writing your book, build out your media kit and then go back to the book. Seriously, you can't go wrong when it comes to this kind of thing. You want a headshot that's not blurry. Crystal, when I first met her, this was the only headshot that she had. She went and got a better one later, but I told her, look, podcasters, broadcasters, anybody that's in media wants a super high definition, crystal clear headshot of you. Why? Because it makes us look good. If we put up a fuzzy headshot, it makes us look like we don't know what we're doing. It doesn't reflect well on us, doesn't reflect well on you, and we want that to happen. So this is a very high definition headshot that I had my photographer take of me while I was sitting at my desk, because most people see me this way since we're all on Zoom now. And I've worn a headset since 1982. I have always worn headsets. And so this has become part of my branding. And so this is why I had the picture taken. If you have something that is a part of your branding and it's core to your personality, in my case, I have been in audio since 1982. If you have something that is like that for you, do not allow your marketing team to convince you out of it. I have people constantly telling me, Janine, now take off your headset. Janine, now take off your headset. And I'm like, no, most people see me with my headset on. They will recognize me with this headset. And I've fought pretty hard on it. I've only lost the battle twice, and that was because it was for somebody else's event. So if you happen to see headshots or figures of me and I don't have my headset on, that's because those shots were taken by somebody else for an event. Okay. Anyway, make sure that as you have these headshots taken of you, that you have some of you laughing. And if you're not a real jovial person, then just a small smile, maybe that you don't show your teeth. That's fine. Stay in tune with your personality. And again, don't allow people to make you smile or do things that you don't want to do. Be like Fred Astaire. Not only was Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers amazing dancers, but Fred Astaire, if he did not want to do something, he did not do it. he really put his foot down. It's knowing your skill set and staying in alignment with those. The other thing is, don't be afraid to show people what you're doing, what you're involved in, what's going on. This isn't so much a big deal for folks that are under the age of 35, but for those of you over the age of 35, we did not grow up in the selfie era, and we still may be getting used to the fact of having pictures taken of us, especially if we're not really comfortable in our own skin for whatever reason, like whatever has happened or whatever we're doing. Just realize that this humanizes you and people can identify with you, and it makes your stories come alive. Okay. Also, don't be afraid to show people other things that you do. I'm also a minister. I work with 16 different Native American tribes. I'm a shaman as well as a sacred clown, is titles that have been given me. Does this have anything to do with author podcasting? Very little, actually, except I have a radio show that I produced for years called The Practical Mystic Show. And so don't be afraid to share with your community when you are writing something or you're doing something that is outside of what they are normally used to seeing you in. It actually drives the conversation a lot more. The other thing is in your media kit, you want to make sure that you show people the breadth of what you're doing. And so here is a shot of me that shows all the different types of books that I've written. Have some fun with it. The Thriving Solopreneur, my photographer was goofing off with me and said, give me an evil grin. This was his best, the best I could come up with. But anyway, just have some fun with what you're doing. When it comes to the intro, make sure that you write an introduction that somebody like myself can read about you. An introduction is not a bio. A biography is what you would have somebody read, like on the cover of your book. An introduction actually talks about you. It actually has the title in it. There have been so many times where I've had to ask an author, hey, what's the title of your book? And they said, oh, well, I gave it to you in my media kit. I'm like, but it's not in your introduction. Now, if you want to highlight a specific book, like in my case, I have 11 of them. So depending upon what I'm being interviewed on, I'll go ahead and have a very specific introduction on that type of book. Okay. The other thing is in your media kit, go ahead and put interview questions. This really just makes it so easy for the podcaster, the broadcaster, the radio show host, whoever is in the media helping you. It just helps give them a flavor of who you are and where to take the direction of the interview. Now, they're going to add their own questions. Of course, they have their own perspective. A lot of radio show hosts and podcast hosts are just incredibly inquisitive people. And they probably were told no a lot as a kid, like, why does this happen? Why does that happen? A lot of those types of people get into broadcasting because they want to finally be given answers to burning questions they've had for years. The next thing is in your media kit and in your marketing, you want to make sure that you know where are you sending your people. So recently I was doing an audiobook recording and I wanted people to join me in that audiobook recording. And I told them that they would be receiving raw, unedited files and they would get a discount on the audiobook by helping me, by giving me comments and letting me know what they liked or disliked about what they were hearing in the audiobook. Because I had this very specific project I was working on, I had a very specific landing page. So make sure you know in your media kit, you make those adjustments so that you're sending your people to your latest project. Okay. The other thing is, and this is the third tip on how to go about working on your marketing, and that is if you are writing a book, start getting on podcasts now. Start getting onto those podcasts and letting people know you're writing a book, because then it will drive traffic to your email list where you have a landing page. Even if you've made, like if you're using MailChimp, because it doesn't cost you anything until you have 2,000 subscribers or whatever the new number is. Even if you're using some little service and you have this very primitive looking email capture form, go ahead and use it. All right. People understand that you're just starting, you're working on your book and you're building your list, and you want to be able to stay in touch with them so that you can let them know when you have your book out. So go ahead and get on the air now. I run a Janine Bolon show, and it's an amalgamation of 5 different shows that we've put together as one. And so I can guarantee you, if you've written a book, we can find a place for you on that show. The other thing is, I just wanted to let you know you are welcome to sign up. And because you're listening to this video or because you are on a particular workshop of mine, most of the time it's $497 to have an episode on our show. We are a broadcasting service and therefore we are on radio. And guess what that means? We have to buy time on radio stations. And so we put the cost off not only on our sponsors, but also our guests. However, you are getting the deal today for $299, and I offer that to people for as long as we have open spaces on that. The other thing is if you have already published a book, I would invite you to be a part of our 99 author project. What this is book number 12. I'm interviewing 99 authors. I'm asking them questions about the marketing of their book, why they wrote their book. There's a list of 13 questions that I'm asking people. And this is our working book cover, 99 authors, best advice, a cadre of authors from all walks of life, from all genres that are here to tell you what worked and most importantly, what didn't work when it came to their marketing campaigns for their books. The 13 questions will be given to you. You will be able to look at them ahead of time before we put you on the show. And again, the cost for that is only $299. And if you think that is expensive, I encourage you to go look up how much it costs to do compilation books, and you will see that that is quite the deal. Lastly, I have Author Podcasting Academy. If you haven't published your book yet, or you want to be in the company of authors as you work on your next project, we have the Write a Book a Year, which is a subscription service where you are able to join us not only for an online course, but we have twice a month Zooms where we get together, we look over each other's works, we make comments on what you've written. And then when I have VIP interviews with people who have really made it big, I bring them on to talk to us on occasion with the Zoom. So that is a $37 a month subscription if you're interested. And here's a little tip that I learned. If you want, you can put your camera up to the screen and this will take you right to the subscription. This is something that you can do when you are giving presentations at events now that things are starting to open up, or you can do them online. I've noticed a lot of people will be watching their Zoom and they'll have it on their laptop or their desktop and they'll take their phone and they'll click on the QR code and they'll be working on their phone while you're continuing on with your workshop. So that's just an idea I offer you to take with you so that you can put the landing page of your book on some of your events, hopefully. So the biggest thing is, depending upon what your budget is, if you are unable to get on podcasts right now, you don't have it in your marketing budget, then get my book. It's free, but I do ask you to pay $9.95 in shipping. And I can send it out to you on Friday. In the book has everything that we talked about on this video, along with scripts that you would send to podcasters, how to set up marketing spreadsheets so you know what shows you've been on, that sort of thing. It's just, there's a lot of information in it. And it's one of the books that, I'm just really proud. It took me probably 7 years and $35,000 to learn everything that I packed into this little book just for you. You can get it at authorpodcasting.com, free book. Now, if you're like, Janine, I really would love to be a part of something more, but I just don't know if I'm convinced on this yet, then I highly recommend that you come to my Open Friday coffees. I'm having them through the end of this year. We're recording today, August of 2022, and I'm holding this through the end of December 16th of 2022 will be the last open coffee before I change the link that you're going to get today. You are able to pop on. I'm on for an hour. You can come on for 5 minutes and leave. You can come on, ask a question and leave. It's very informal. It's just an open coffee so people have access to me and can talk to me, ask questions, figure out pricing, whatever is on your mind, and then leave. You don't have to stick around. So that's what the open coffee is for, is to help you guys out. It's kind of like open office hours when I was a college professor. So treat it like open office hours. Okay. Next, I would love it if you would go to the Janine Bolon Show. It's on YouTube. What you will find is there's a playlist called Mistakes Authors Make. And every time I do one of these workshops, I will post it online. The next one, we are going to be talking about pre-planned profitability for published authors. And when we post that one up, you can be on this playlist. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you would please subscribe to my YouTube channel, I very much appreciate it. Why? Because YouTube will allow you to then make chapter headings in your videos, and that will serve you better in the future. Because instead of scrolling through all 20 minutes of a workshop I've done, when you only want to know what I discussed as far as how to get on a podcast and talk to a podcaster, when I have that video, you'll be able to go right to that 2-minute segment, and then you're not having to dig through a 30-minute video or what have you. So that is why I'm asking you to sign up for that. So that's what I had to set up for you for today. Thank you so much for listening.